Yes, here we go. It is the T.N.F. The night we hand over the keys to use. I am joined by the judge. We're a wee bit earlier tonight. It's a nice day. We thought we would go on as early as we possibly could, and that way that would allow us to maybe catch some of the sun. And judging by my complexion, Mark, I am needing some vitamin D badly. But I did book up to go back to Turkey, mate, this week, so I'm going there on Tuesday.
Oh, a nice one. Oh, superb.
I've made the decision, mate.
Well, it's been on the tip of your tongue for a long time to do
It
that.
has
So.
been, mate. No
Hopefully,
cosmetic work. No cosmetic work. Just going for some much needed sun. But I guarantee it'll be the hottest week of the year here. That's just an absolute guarantee when I'm away. But fuck it.
Who cares?
Only
You
live
don't
once.
get, even when you get the sun here, it's not like being abroad in it. It's different. There's the pubs are better. There's just everything's better abroad in it.
Well, this will be up. This will be up your street, mate. My first day, I've just booked up to go on a rebel boat.
Oh wow!
From the Parkhead Bar in Marmaris, so I'll be on that on my own. So that'll be fun. I'll make some pals that way. That'll kick off the week, though, won't it? I'm bound to make some pals on that. Aye, you know me, mate.
Oh well,
nobody wants to go on holiday with me.
Aye, right. That sounds good.
Aye, so I'm looking forward to that. I seen it advertised last night. I was like, that's my first day there. I thought, what a great way though to kind of actually maybe make pals through the old Celtic sphere, as it always is.
Maybe a few podcast watchers on it. You never know.
Well, you never know. That I'll never forget that in the old Tenerife at Christmas. That was crazy. Just there was only one person like could recognise me, but even that you just kind of get your head around it. You know what I mean? It's mad. Right. Anyway, we do all that good stuff. Give a like, give a share, buy some hair. Also, if you're not subscribed, why not hit the subscribe button? And if you are subscribed, hit the bell beside it. You never miss a bus. So when the bus comes in early, like it does tonight, you get that notification so you don't miss it. And of course, there is the option for membership. $1.99 a month. It's completely optional, as you all know. And I can confirm that we've got 4 commenters so far. We've got David Scullion, we've got Ryan Moore, we've got Teresa Lytle Media, and Alan Mokwa, and all 4 are Bhoycie Bus members. We can't thank you enough, and each and every one of you who tunes in anyway. And yeah, let's get off to kick off the show. And we will be talking, obviously, Mark, getting your feedback first and foremost. Me and Terry obviously did a show after Ibrox. What was your thoughts on the game first and foremost? Then we'll get to all the usual aftermath that always comes out. There's always some sort of drama. But first and foremost, let's stick to the football and get your thoughts on that.
I don't think it was the best of games, to be honest with you. It'd be a bit frustrating at times, but it was the end of the season match, you know what I mean? And I still had the passion in my heart anyway. I wanted to beat them, and I went to the Carrpool suite to watch it, and it was quite a good atmosphere. But I thought the game itself, there wasn't much to write home about. I'll probably see the highlights in like 10 years' time and not remember who scored the goals, or not, you know what I mean? It'll be one of the ones. But do you know what? We saw Celtic take a bit more control than what they have done in spells this match in the last couple of games against Rangers. So that was a bit of a positive again that we kind of seen. We did the things we were doing at Celtic Park and Ibrox before. We're doing them better this match. You know, I felt like we controlled large spells of that match. I thought the midfields ticked a bit better than it had been ticking. You know what I mean? Defensively, we looked pretty decent. I thought our fullbacks looked pretty decent at times, and I thought Carter Vickers and Scales, apart from the headed goal that got chopped off, they didn't look too troubled with the ball in there. They weren't flailing a lot. You know what I mean? They did win a couple of headers, Rangers, but that's their game. They're big bullies, big brutes. They're going to win a lot of headers, you know what I mean? But I didn't feel pressurised or pummeled at any point. I did think myself to equalised, we're going to win this match. And Dizzy Maeda, he was unlucky. He took the wee touch with his right feet and he hit his own leg with the ball. He went past the keeper. I mean, it was deemed a great save by him, but he went past the goal and hit his own leg with the ball. He's been scoring them all seasons. It's one of the ones where just wasn't meant to be. And
did you notice he tried to do the studs on top of the ball drag?
Well,
do you know what? If I'd scored 30 odd goals in a season, mate, I'd probably think I was capable of anything too.
Well, do you know, it could have been if you think back to Larsson's 50th goal of the season against Rangers and he took it on the outside and cut it in. Sean Maloney was just waiting to make himself a Celtic player. Had that hit the post or had that missed. Kenny had the same opportunity if Maida had passed that, you could have had his biggest moment or his only moment in Celtic jersey could have been a winner at Ibrox. You know, that could have kickstarted that boy's. It would put his name into the ring, I suppose. But it didn't really happen for him. But there's time left of the season. But just to kind of wrap up the game on Sunday, as far as I'm concerned, we were even though I can't believe doing this, even though we'd played 4 previously, we had won 2, one of which was a cup final. So we won 2 and lost 2. Seemingly Celtic have been pummeled off Rangers all season, and this was the match that Rangers were supposed to like just rubber stamp that dominance of this fixture this season. I find it totally baffling. I had a podcast the other day there. I had to comment on their page saying that Brendan Rodgers hasn't won any of these matches. I think that's all the guy has done in 2 spells. He's played 24 matches, and before January the 2nd of this year, he lost 1 out of 20. He's had a bad 4 months, and they 4 months we've wrapped up a title and are closing in a treble. And sometimes performances and standards drop. That didn't happen last weekend there. I thought Celtic did enough to get the points. They could have won with the 3 points, as I said. Rangers, I think, with something like 30% possession, something like that. A couple of shots in goal. I think their second half was pathetic in terms of a home team. Celtic should have won the match, but hey ho, it is what it is. But I'll not be dwelling on that for too long, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, for Celtic, I think, I think at times these games are always meant to have that killer edge to them, you know, that real intensity. And if I'm honest, I did think it was a yard off having the usual intensity that it always does. But from our point of view, that's totally understandable. No excuse for them. And you talk about that second half display from them. I mean, was that really a team that was trying to defy the odds, play for the manager to get the deal permanently, give their fans something to sing about after a trophyless season? That's, you know, they would be far more glaring questions to ask after Celtic go away from home to their rivals, notoriously obviously a difficult fixture, whether we want to admit that or not, with nothing riding on it whatsoever, and came out, as you say, with a performance that certainly didn't look like a Celtic side desperate to win it as such, because they're not. But a Celtic side that I think had more gears to it if needed.
Aye.
If the situations were maybe a bit more critical, I think Celtic showed they could go through the gears. And notwithstanding that, you're taking Jota, Nicholas Kuhn, Alistair Johnston, Kasper Schmeichel out of what is likely your starting 11.
Yeah.
Big misses, mate. Those 4 players walk into your rivals team, for example, you know, and more so they'd be the 4 best players. So for us to be missing them, you've got to factor all that in as well. And you think to yourself, as I say, had there been more riding on the game, I think Celtic looked like a side that were accomplished, you know, at the very, to say the least, if not a great first half. Still thought in the second one, if anyone's going to win it, it'd be us. Albeit I think it did have draw written all over it, if I'm honest. But I think from your point of view, it was a case of we got us up for it as we needed to. You know, whatever level they were going to get to, we could meet it no bother. And we had more levels to go to. And if Rangers had raised their game, I think we would have been able to match that as well. See, just on that, how big is the gulf right now, do you think, between the two sides? Now, I know you're very, very realistic with these things. You don't get carried away with, you know, 20 years it'll take to catch us and all that stuff. And I know that's not usually your remit. But based on what I've just kind of said there, you factor in, you know, the players missing, the fact Celtic looked like they had more gears, the fact Rangers were the only side that had things riding on it, albeit it's not trophy worthy or league championship worthy, but it was still that game. They had far more reasons, I think, to show more impetus or to show more desire, more, you know, their best level, if you like, to put that in. Celtic, of course, wanted to end that the 2-game losing streak. You know, the 2-game losing streak. You know, that just shows you again. I think that's a subconscious thing about levels again. But realistically, Mark, it's quite obvious there is when you paint the picture that there is a gulf between the teams right now. How big is it?
Well, I certainly think that if you take their starting 11s for each team, I think Celtic dominate almost every position. I think there's players that I would take for them, as squad players, etc. But on the park, you know, I mean, you look at St Johnstone, they managed to beat us last month, Bhoycie. A team that's get relegated. Teams that are inferior can level up against the champions and the champions elect. Rangers have done that the last couple of games. They still fell short in the cup final. We should have won that match. We played for 10 minutes at Celtic Park, 15 minutes at Celtic Park, and we should have won the match. You know what I mean? See the last few matches, what they've benefited from is something that they've been missing the last few years. Is they've done well in the moments. They've not destroyed us in midfield. They've no picked Greg Taylor and destroyed him on the wing. They've no soaked up all we could throw at them. Apart from the game at Ibrox, which was a pure clusterfuck for Celtic, from start to finish, I think even Brendan Rodgers and some of the players have come out and said that was just a one-off kind of display that they can't quite put a finger on how it worked out that way. But they've just done well in the moments. They've no destroyed Celtic. When you look at the stats after the matches, Celtic are still in more of the ball. They've probably had more XG a lot of the time. They've had more corners. They've seen more chances open up for them. But I do think that Rangers' one of their hurdles is mentality. Celtic are a winning machine. They've got a champion mentality. We spoke about it last Thursday. Like you go to bed the champion, you wake up a champion. Rangers are missing that in so many levels. All along the club, you just mentioned there about the expectation levels and standards. I mean, they'll spend the full summer laughing about a tifo last weekend, or they'll spend the full summer dining off beating us 3-0 in January when it didn't matter. That's their Champions League trophy, Bhoycie. Our trophies are actual trophies. You know what I mean? We look at success and we nitpick ways that we can make the success better. Probably to the extent where we start to enjoy the championships as much, because we start concentrating on, right, okay, we're a dominant force, how can we stay dominant? And we start to take away some of the enjoyment here. And I'm guilty of that more than anybody. But the levels on the park on one-half matches is tangible, you know what I mean? But see, when you look at I think it was actually Andy Halliday that mentioned this the other day on the radio. The difference between Celtic and Rangers this season is 7 victories, and there's still 3 games to go. 7 victories in a league campaign that's 36 matches is a big, massive gulf. Not only that, I think I've seen that Rangers are closer in that regard to the bottom 6 than they are to Celtic. I may have read that. I read that wrong.
Sounds good. We'll roll with it.
So I think 7 victories more for the team finishing 6 puts them closer to Rangers than it does Rangers to Celtic. Do you know what I'm talking about? So
I get yeah. That sounds good anyway. I'm happy with that.
And that is a golf, Bhoycie. You know what I mean? Like, see, for talk's sake, like it was this conversation that was kind of beginning to be played out last week about 3 victories against your rivals or win the league. There only is one league. There only is one goal in the season, boys, and that's win the league. There's no, okay, we'll let Hearts beat us twice, we'll win the league. No, all that matters is win the league. So it's like you need to be empty home and away. You need to be getting more draws on a Wednesday night. You need to get more wins on a Saturday at 12 o'clock. You need to go to these places that are difficult, and you have to do that consistently. And Rangers are nowhere near the same level as Celtic in that regard, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's a case of just coming in and buying 2 or 3 players. That is a total and utter, clean out and focus and start it again. But in the same breath for Celtic, I think there's maybe half a team that could be replaced next season if we do things correctly. You know what I mean? I think we need a new centre back to start. I think we need at least 1, maybe 2 new of that midfield 3 to start. A new striker is obvious.
Our headaches are nicer though, aren't they?
But they're good, boys. We're trying.
Because this is you identifying positions to be improved on that aren't desperate in the sense of we've not got just complete donkeys for each of these roles.
Yeah.
You know, you're
and the
listening.
thing is, as well, boys, see if this takeover comes. This is one thing that's making me feel a bit positive about it all. See if this takeover happens for Rangers and it's absolutely perfect. I'm talking about perfect to a T. they'll have a manager that can cope with managing Rangers, right? We'll have a squad that's good enough to win trophies, a squad that's good enough to win trophies, sell players, make a profit, and still compete for trophies, and have a structure where no matter what happens, the next player is on that revolving, for the next man's going to step in. Celtic have got all of that already. They've got every single piece of that lined up already. So even if they get all of the ducks in a row perfectly, they're still starting for the start, Bhoycie. Celtic have got all of that.
Yeah.
So even on these terms, Celtic won't stand still. So even if his takeover goes absolutely perfect, like movie stuff perfect, then there's still got work to do, Bhoycie, because Celtic are already on that platform.
Yes.
And even that, Celtic are on maybe year 7 or year 8 of that platform.
I find the biggest challenge for them that they've not, the square they can't circle is, I think there's a lot of envy boardroom wise, and I think probably with their fans as well, in terms of I hate this fucking terminology, right? But we'll just say it, player trading model, right? However, one thing about Rangers maybe having the clout to adopt the exact same sort of philosophy, what are they adding those young, cheaper, well-scouted prospects to? And what does Celtic add there?
Yeah.
So see when Celtic pluck Jeremy Frimpong from Man City for 400 grand, they're adding him to a side at that point that had won 8 in a row. So you're not all those players, obviously, but you're adding it with fundamentals like Callum McGregor, like James Forrest. I'm trying to list off other players. I can't remember. Scott Brown, right? All these. So when you're bringing in this player trading model, one of the big advantages Celtic have is the environment that the player that you're hoping is going to turn into a fucking absolute gold mine, as well as delivering in the park, is they're coming to an environment where they're playing alongside winners and a winning team. Whereas if you're to add 5, 6, say Rangers were to try and maybe have a summer like, obviously with a better hit rate than we did when Brendan's first summer, say we're to bring in 9, right? And it's this new player trading model. We've plucked a guy for the Norwegian league. We've plucked a guy for the Polish league, etc. What's you adding them to?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. So what they always seem to need is they'll always need Bruno Alves. Was that his name? The big centre back?
Yeah.
Was that his name?
Something. I think it was Bruno Alves.
A Joey Barton. And I get that, I kind of get the logic. Jermaine Defoe, actually did very well for them, to be fair. Yeah. But they'll always need that as well. So they're always going to have to go all out on a pedigree player because they don't have pedigree players in their ranks. Do you get me? They don't have long-term pedigree footballers that know how to. So when you're adding young prospects to bona fide winners, the young prospect, first and foremost, has a better chance, right? The squad environment they're coming into is a winning one, so it's a positive thing. If you try and bring in an influx of player trading model signings this summer to that Rangers squad, what are they going to learn about? Losing. So they then need to, obviously, that's where they need to then stick a twist on. Do we bring in a couple of Clint Hills? Shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Because they'll need it. And then it's about further investment that we don't need to make. Hence why our player trading models always work so well, because we've not had to do the 35 grand a week on a 33-year-old. Do you know what I mean? Because deep down, you can't bring in, mate, 6 or 7 in this player trading model shite into an environment of losers and expect it to work. So you need to complement that with guys that are more likely they've got a decent CV, proper track record, and maybe whilst in the twilight of their career are going to bring some authority to it and brilliant influence and potentially a winner's mentality. They cost Bondilis too. And that is the checkmate, I think, for me, where constantly having to do that on top of hoping that 2 or 3, because bear in mind, Celtic's player trading model is this envy. If we're being honest, Mark, what is the percentage of strike rate?
No, it's 30%.
3 and 10?
If you look at our starting 11 now, That's Brendan Rodgers' first spell and Angie's team that are basically, you look at it, you get McGregor, Forrest, you know what I mean, the hearts of the team, you know what I mean, like Carter Vickers, Johnson, Greg Taylor, Scales, Hatate, fucking Maeda, Jota, all Ange signings. So that's players that have, took a bit of time.
Under Rodgers, we've signed what, 13?
Aye, so you're not got
14 players, and
this
you've just
is where
listed
Celtic have got the
that.
benefit, boys. Like, say, me and my dad were talking about it today. Like, I don't think Jota aside, because Jota deserves a pass. I think he did not too bad. But all your signings this summer and winter, I've not gave the team much at all. Let's be honest, right? But we still made a profit out of him. Standing just now, we made a profit out of all our players. We made the Kyogo, he paid for Jota. We sold him O'Reilly for 30 million, and we brought in Ida and blah 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 blah.
Engels, yep.
Engels. So we made money on that, you know what I mean? And maybe Schmeichel's the one that's impacted the team. Solo as well, to a certain extent. But so we can still impact the first 11, make a team, make a squad better, sell a couple of these players, and then it starts all again. So we only need one player or maybe two assets to move on, and then we're funding the next, as you said, 9 or 10 players that come in.
And you'll get a strike rate of maybe 3.
If you get, and see, the thing is, you mentioned it very quickly about Bruno Alves, not, and just I'm seeing a team that's youthful, a lot of talent. These guys will make an impact and they will see you through. But see a team that's losing constantly, who are starting a new cycle again, they cost money, boys. And I kind of see a proper club, right? If let's just say they do things right and they do things proper, the board aren't going to sit and say, let's throw 40 grand at a 37-year-old who's just left, I don't know, let's just say
Jamie
Chelsea
Vardy.
or whatever, right?
Jamie Vardy.
Everton, right? Whatever. And then, no, I think there's more chances in flinging 14 grand at 3 young players. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's just, and whereas Celtic, I've got the luxury of seeing somebody who can maybe step in for a year and can throw 30 grand at a player like that. You know what I mean? And go, right, he's what we need just now.
If they wanted to, and I think as well, one of the other advantages we've got too is, when we look at the economic side, is this player trading model, this holy grail, I think, that will be tried to be replicated, and it probably looks simple on the outside. Celtic have been able to do it for position of, see the ones that don't work, it's no sweat. Because we've got 10 years Champions League wins, Champions League wins, Champions League, qualifications 6 at the last 10 years, or whatever it's been, 5 at the last 10. That money, right, like all kind of banked. So like these are the risk element to these is so futile. It's so come ça, right? If we've got £2 million Thiago, on loan in America right now, we wanted him to work. It's the end of the world if he doesn't. They'll be banking on each one of these Thiago type signings, mate. Yeah, they need all 6 of them. They need them all to work.
And the economically, voices are very emotive. I don't know if you heard Dave King. You probably did because you watched that show. But there was there's a thing that jumped out at me, and it was a wee kind of lifting the lid. He said, "You've got to have a board of directors that won't make decisions based on emotions. Like they're going, oh, the supporters are kicking off by a player. You've got to have a board that's like Celtic, who they don't care that me and you're swinging for the rafters complaining about no buying players. They're zen about that, our board. They make decisions that are sound business decisions. So see, the Rangers fans, I've never had that, boys. Even in the 3rd division, they were still spending money like crazy. The Murray stuff and Dave King were still. If they want to play with the big boys in that player trading model, they're going to have to realise as a fan base that they might need to take a step backwards before they go forward.
Well, but
I don't know if that works with them.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because Dave King, I did watch it with Simon Jordan and Jim White, and the thing was that he was saying was they'll not be emotive. And I think he was almost having a pop like the board have been emotive so far. Rangers, like, no one's more fucking emotive than him. This is the pack of cards guy. Right? Like, he makes emotive decisions, and COVID season landed on his lap. He can bask in that all he wants. What the fuck happened to his teams, when under his watch before and straight after again? So he could, didn't fuck this, that shit. He's great at everyone else being Diddy's, that Dave King. Anyway, the mad thing was, he was alluding, you're absolutely right, that they'll not be bowing to instant reactions, right? We've lost the game, manager needs sacked. We've won a game, the manager needs a new contract. They won't, that's what he was kind of getting at. Like, it's right. And the thing is with that, whilst you're right, Celtic's board have maybe went, we'll do what we think, despite all the fans' hysteria. Do you know what? Other than that COVID season, look at the last 14, 50 years. They've always got trophies, mate, to back up their argument, whether we agree with them or not. I see when you've got that sort of fucking clout behind you, you can go, shut up, Bhoycie. There's another treble. Shut up. Right? That gives them that confidence where they can go in spite of maybe some sort of fan demand and a reaction and hysteria over certain moves or certain things we would like to see, because they can back it up with, well, our formula works, here's the trophy count. They've not got that bit. And I think the one thing that will surprise this takeover lot is how unwilling a huge percentage of their fan base will be to the patience game and see what's happening. I think Dave King said, it's a bit like when we got Steven Gerrard in. I knew it would be 2 years. Bollocks, mate. Bollocks. When he was getting beat at home off Hamilton, you didn't think this is us on the right journey to like winning the league next year.
No.
Right? Shut up. Like, it's just nonsense. And you couldn't afford to sack him, is the reality. That's the truth. Otherwise, he would have been. Right? He would have been. So don't make it like, I knew it'd be the third year. Oh, no, just glib and shameless, mate. Just glib and shameless. But I think I know, see what he's saying fundamentally is probably right. And that's how long it takes. It's not the reality, mate. It just doesn't happen.
I don't think they'll take it, Bhoycie. I don't see that as a fan base. I mean, even at Maidstone, Ibrox, all the managers always mention that, like, they've been there, like, they dare not turn round the Rangers manager, even when they're winning, because the Maidstone is quite, they're quite vile at times. That stand and that fan base will not take to signing players out of contract at Dundee and Aberdeen and free players in the market and try to find a player who's going to be good in 2 years' time. Celtic can afford that. As you say, with the trophies, and the board's got the clout to say, do you know what? I hate this phrase. Let's trust the process. Trust us here, because
we did it our way.
We did it our way, and even if it doesn't work, you've still got the James Forrest to step in. You've still got the Scales who know at the level, but they can come up and step in and win your title. You know what I mean? They've not got that luxury. And I'm quite adamant. I know whether it's successful or no, what the Huns think this takeover is not the reality of it, boys. You know what I mean? It's like the magic beans, and I think I think an investor. They say in football, if you want to make £1 million, you start off with 10, because you lose your money, put money in football teams. You know what I mean? So I think the way they might make money is, for years the Rangers have been getting propped up with loans by the investors that are getting turned into shares. They'll start dishing out loans to Rangers with high interest rates, like Dave King did. Dave King gave them a £5 million loan with something like a 10% interest, but in fact it was more than that. And they turned around and said, because my company's in South Africa, the law says it's got to have interest or whatever. You know what I mean? Wait till you see all these wee things pop up, boys. All these wee, do you know what? It's no us, it's the 49ers. They've got a rule book where we can invest just now, but we're going to take it off in next year's season ticket sales. Like Ticketus, which they've already done just now. This is the next Ticketus thing. They're already beginning to talk about loans based on
business, though. Like, this is business, by the way. Like, see, this stuff is not actually all that bad in terms of.
No, it's no, but the reality of it, boys. I mean, I've seen them saying. I read one yesterday, that bit of chuckle. The one of them said, but they're going to sell Edmonton's house. That we kind of for 80 million. They're going to sell that for, and then give it back to Rangers for nothing. So the £80 million can get to the players for next season. You believe that? You believe they made out of cheese? But that's so. That's see what they think is going to happen, boys. Honestly, I just can't wait for the reality. I mean,
I think as well, very important. Sorry to jump out. I think very importantly as well, mate. The other factor that's the reality that you're referring to will be this isn't, fucking expecting like the likes of Gaza to be coming for Lazio, this summer because there's a big or Dick Advocat when he arrived and that sort of kitty. But not just that. They need to enter into the woke era that we currently live in. And, see, to be honest with you, I think a lot of the stuff that they sing about and idolize and sort of have as their ideologies as a football club are deplorable. And then I think they'll find that the other stuff that probably doesn't seem that bad will also start getting like cut out. And before you know it, that board will be like, no, we're now a sporting institution in terms of I'm running this like a company, a sporting company that's a brand. And this brand will not have any toxicity whatsoever. And I think that combined with where's fucking Messi? Do you know what I mean? And, you promised us 50 which they've never done. I think that's the recipe for disaster as well, because obviously we'll get to it now. The banner stuff. I mean, two things before the game, only Celtic and Rangers matches can sort of provide this, which is funny. You've got like a blurry, tifo of Graham Souness as if you're watching Sky TV in the 90s and it was snowing outside. It's a speckly. And you just couldn't really pixelated. You couldn't quite make it. Who's that?
I don't know what it was.
Is that my fucking nan? What the fuck? I don't remember that picture.
I thought it was a fast show. Maybe we scouted a fast show.
And I thought it was a 118 guy. I was like, what the fuck is that?
It was like.
And then, anyway, you've got that, which is controversial as it is, because obviously it's their favourite thing. Ryan Kent started, I think, the whole gunning. And I'm guessing it's all stemmed for that, right? See, at the end of the day, it's a real photo. If anyone could make out what the fuck it was, they'd probably have known that earlier, that it's a photo of Graham Souness. Who just had his photo taken holding a gun, right? It's not that tasteful. How big a crime is it? I don't like it. In fact, I really don't like. I don't like guns and the Scottish stuff anyway for personal reasons and stuff. But I mean, it's going to get viewed by their new wave of ownership. Instant no, right? Whilst that's going on, they're causing their own drama for themselves, by the way. We're singing Simply the Best. Loud as fuck. It was a surreal start before the first whistles went. But there is side shows to this, Mark, if you hear what I'm saying. I mean, we get frustrated with a lot of Celtic's takes on the likes of the Palestinian flags. Tifos, if they think there's any sort of reference to IRA and things like this. Obviously the Flair stuff, it's constant fines and all that. And we look at how toxic it can be between Celtic fans and the board right now. But like I say, the reason it doesn't spill over and there's not any more Sharks is because the only reason there was Sharkgate was because we weren't going to win that year, right? So that's how it's similar. It gets to a level and then it kind of just, no, the water's not coming over the edge of the pan, Mark, right? See, once they start doing that to second place Rangers this time next year, and that's happened all season, kaboom.
Yeah.
Loggerheads, mate. They're going to clash. You know what I mean?
Will you try telling them that they can't go to Linfield pre-season and play games in front of an orange flute band and things like that? That'll no wash with it. I'm kind of assuming this mob won't be as entrenched in.
Do you think they'll drink from the living cup?
Oh fuck! They will. That's the most mortifying.
I can't wait for that.
Oh,
some guy from America going, sorry, what? Come on.
You drink out of a vase? What?
It's fucking important.
Oh, it's stupid.
Jumping that bike and all.
But this is the thing, as you say, like we will tolerate the board being Tories and the board being kind of anti what Celtic as a club should stand for at times, as long as the team wins in the park. I think the most important thing to Celtic fans is the team winning in the park. I think I'm going to say it. I think as a Rangers as a football club are used as a mechanism for racism and hatred, and I think the football provides an avenue for these people to dish that out, you know what I mean? And then the two of them just feed off each other. Celtic are a bit different. I think Celtic are a football club that you get in, and the other things start to bleed within it, you know what I mean? Whereas I think they're kind of like staunch Protestant, you know, hate your neighbour if he's no white British stuff, you know what I mean? And this mob, I don't think really will stand for people not being inclusive. These are Americans, and they've got a brand to protect as well.
They must have done all the research on this, because see if you know it, man.
Well,
guys are going to pump millions of pounds into something.
I don't think like as soon as they went to the first match, they've been to a few matches now in the third. I'm up to my knees in Phoenix blood. They must have went. What is singing about blood for? Can you Google that for me? So I'm pretty sure.
No. He didn't say blood. He said flood.
I'm pretty sure this is the thing, boys. So like this is where it all falls to now. But they'll see this as a business venture, and they'll see this as a business opportunity. It doesn't mean when they come in, they'll start to tarnish their own reputations individually or collectively by being associated with racists or being associated with, you know, like some of the stuff. I mean,
but if it's a business, if it's a business and your theory is right, see if it's a business and your theory is right, Mark, you can't alienate your customer base too much either.
This is it. They've got to.
So you need to assess what percentage of your customer base is down that. Like, and I don't think it's all. I generally don't think in 2025 it's as many as you. I honestly don't.
I don't know, mate.
I think it's a majority, but I don't think it's like a 90% thing, mate. Honestly, I don't.
No, I do think, like, say, if you lined up 10 Rangers fans, I think 8 of them are sympathetic towards Ulster and the Orange Lodge and Protestantism and the British Empire and the rest of it. 8 or 9 out of 10, I'd say. Mate, I think if you turned off all the outside noise and you listen to Rangers in a European game and the Billy Boys comes on, I think that full stadium to a man is singing the Billy Boys Bhoycie. Whether that means they go out and don't talk to their neighbour because they're no white British, I don't think so. But I think they 100% stand for what they think I ready means. That I ready strong Rangers. I mean,
are they allowed to vote Tory?
I don't know. Probably, you know. I mean, this is how bad they're. You know. I mean, if they get reform in, they can get it in. You know what I mean? And but I don't think for 1 minute.
They'll sort that out.
I think they will.
Tell us who to vote for.
No, I do think though, Bhoycie, that you said you've got a very kind of valid point there, because I don't know if where that stops. You know what I mean? Like they're businessmen and they all look at their customers, but I don't know where that they draw a line and say we don't have our name fucking branded about, and all we're getting is racism, and all we're getting is because we're the only country in the world that call racism football bigotry and things like that. And singing about the Pope dying, that isn't bigotry, Bhoycie. That is utter racism. You know what I mean? But in every sense of the word, it's racism. You know what I mean? Singing about a monarch dying is a different. That is no racism. That's political, maybe geopolitical, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But that is just, I don't understand it. You know what I mean? That this mob might not see it as. I think if you look at it, as I said before, Rangers board, I think they don't just play to the gallery, boys. They are the gallery. You see, when the gallery starts to change, and you've now got 10 guys on the board who are staunch Protestants, Orange Lodge members, guys who go to the Masons, seeing as proper businessmen who went to Harvard, who have got no idea who fucking all these people are and all these. See, I don't think they'll be as sympathetic and be as intimidated by Billy, the mechanic for Govan. You know what I mean?
Yes, which I do understand, but I mean, if I look at it like, yeah, no, definitely. If I look at it like when I had the pub, for example, right? I owned the pub, I needed investment. And it's someone who's went, do you know what? I'm sorry, but we need to ban the shots. It's just giving a bad reputation at the place. Yes, you've been busy and all that, and you're constantly busy. It keeps the till ticking over. It's paid all the overheads, but I'm cleaning it up because we want a reputation now for being, you know, a wee bit of a sharper, cleaner act. There's no point in putting drink limitations on the no punters. Because if the punters walk, it's great having that rule that there's no shots anymore, or for example, something like that, But if there's no punters to drink even the first first few pints.
But that's something they learn, boys. That's something they'll have to learn, because they'll say to themselves, well, the product is the team. That's the product.
Mm-hmm.
All the other stuff is background noise, very loud background noise, but the products is the actual venue itself. Your venue is the actual product. You know what I mean?
But the revenue, though, is the
They might
customer
change, and they might find out very, very quickly that no, if you want to be in charge of your club, you're going to have to put up with the purple and orange training kits. You're going to have to put up with us visiting Linfield and having all those lodge members having VIP tours at the stadium before derby matches. You've got to put up with all that, and if they suck it up, fine, you know what I mean? It's not going to make them.
It's such a big risk, though, isn't it? And you know what? I actually take your point. I think they have done the research, right? Although I still think there's a level of awakening for them to go, and it's only once you're in.
100%.
Only once you're in, you realise that you're seeing 50,000 season ticket holders and a waiting list. I'm sure they've probably got for season tickets and stuff. You're seeing regular European football. You're seeing a final recently. You've seen quarterfinals this year, Europa League. You see Champions League qualifiers year on year, and you're going, this is a chance. And in Scotland, there's not. I think it was actually Dave King who was saying, he goes, there's less jeopardy in Scotland because they'll be top two. So that European caveat's always going to be there. So you can kind of forecast what's going to come in. But the one thing they will not be able to forecast on is if you make this a too clean and too sleek and too PC, you might lose the main revenue stream. And that's your customer base.
Aye. That's it. And I think this is the question now. This is when the question will be answered. What do they love more? Supporting Rangers or the hatred for everybody else? This is where the question. This is this is the thing that we don't know the answer to. And then you might have another absent landlord situation here, whereas Celtic can afford to have an absent landlord. Do you think this guy who's coming in, he's seemingly
a non-executive landlord, you mean?
Aye. So they might not be they might not be as they might just be like almost like the boss who sends you an email type of people.
Yeah.
Rather than the guys who are in amongst it every day, boys. I've
just get Bomber Brown, eh?
Get Bomber Brown.
Just put him as the front man.
Aye. That probably what you might find is they might do something like that. I'm not talking about Bomber Brown, but this is the Americans. They're all about razzmatazz, you know what I mean? That's how I was convinced that it'll be somebody like a Wayne Rooney or Gerrard again, because the Americans all love fireworks. They love the razzmatazz. They would give Steven Gerrard the job again just because they've heard the guy's name without checking his CV and realised that he's absolutely a fucking horrific manager. Or Wayne Rooney, or something like that.
Rooney's a Tim. He'll know better.
And he's a Tim and all, you know what I mean? He sees Wayne's cut about his select taps and that one, so I doubt it. But this is
I get what you mean though. You want a relative terms Hollywood name.
Aye. But they'll do that, and I think they'll fling in. They'll be told very quickly. I think they all get given the brown brogues and they're told, listen, if MD Ash are the biggest fan base in the world, MD Ash, the Queen's the best, the King's are even better. So they'll all get told all this, Bhoycie, right? But I think they'll come in and they'll go, we need somebody who's going to smooth this transition, like, I don't know, like Tavernier quitting and becoming like
it's
head
got
coach or something, you know what I mean?
It's got to be someone, mate. It's got to be someone. I know what you're touching on. It's got to be someone, mate, that has that presence and that absolute unrivaled respect from all the fans to a man who can get them subtly on message, get the board's message across. He could be, as well as just being the manager, he could be the sort of spokesperson for in a subtle manner, but getting across that we're going in this direction as a football organisation, if you like, rather than
between.
Because and when I say it, it carries that bit of.
Might see somebody like I don't know, like a Brian Laudrup or something. Somebody who's not been in Scottish football for a long time, so who's not got that baggage. Somebody that might have done something like that, and but somebody that's I had the bore or something. Somebody who's no in the country just now, and has been in the papers the last couple of years slagging this player, slagging that player. No lost a bit of respect for some of the Rangers fans just now. Somebody who's been there, done it, who's got a reputation that's totally intact, who can come out and say, like, for us, it'd be somebody like Larson, you know what I mean? Who he would just say, look, he's not been told a story and then just feeding us pish. If he believes it, I'm willing to accept some of it.
Do you think if Henrik came in and says, I back Rod, vote the Tories, do you think everyone would do it?
Yeah, I like Rod Stewart. I wouldn't vote the Tories right now. But saying that, Labour are the Tories, aren't they? I think they're all Tories.
The same people. I don't know, seen that banner yet, though, freaking, Starmer, got Starmer not welcome at Celtic either. Just Rod who voted Tory, I think, once in his life or something. Bizarre, eh?
Listen, if I was a
who do they vote for now?
Who
do they vote? Who do they vote? I wonder who they do vote for now. If they even vote. But yeah, it's a strange one. That side of it, that's what I kind of bought with. And I bet you, by the way, as much as as you're rightfully saying, it's not going to damage the brand as much as racism and sectarianism, all that shite, right? Or religious hate, whatever you want to call it. I still think, like, it doesn't help. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're wanting to evolve the brand, because, see, at the end of the day, Mark, when it comes to evolving the brand, Celtic's about to compete in the inaugural Adidas Cup. Now, Adidas, I could be wrong, but I thought they made, like, Bayern shirts were like their number one team because they've made them forever. I'm sure Adidas was a big fan.
Yes.
Puma was probably a Dortmund fan. It's a bit like Aldi and Lidl's. Brothers, just the rival businesses. Competitive brothers, you know what I mean?
Was it brothers?
Aye. Adidas and the guy for Puma's brothers, and so's Lidl and Aldi.
Oh, is that right?
Aye.
Oh, I don't know the Lidl and Aldi man.
Aye. But then you look at Real Madrid, Adidas. But do you know what Adidas have picked? Celtic and Newcastle to fight out the Adidas Cup. Do you know why? Because they're both champions. League Cup champions. I think Rangers played Man U in a friendly, and they both said it was like the FA Cup winners friendly, if you remember a couple of years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's stolen for that. Now we've dropped to the League Cup, and Adidas are too embarrassed to call it the two League Cup winners. Like, they're selling it, that's like part of the billing, but they just went, what do we call it? Adidas Cup. Yeah, that's right. They picked Celtic and Newcastle. Newcastle never won a league in England in their life, I don't think. Who knows? Certainly not a lot. And Scottish Giants, Celtic, as their representatives for the Adidas Cup. Mark, $27.50 a ticket, I believe it is, for a pre-season friendly, but it is a final. Where do you stand on all that? Load of shite, eh?
Well, $26.50, boys. Don't you be overselling Celtic's greed. $26.50 if you tell you pay the booking fee. So take that £1 back. I find it ridiculous, mate. When I did see we were billed to play them, I thought, I mean, that's strange. We're getting our friendly match back again. I thought, oh, that's decent to Celtic. I probably will go along and watch it. And then I seen, I mean, you're no kidding, £25 plus £1.50 booking fee. I couldn't believe it, boys. And there's got to be 7,500 Newcastle fans. I think they might outsell the Celtic fans that day. I don't think many folk are going to pay to go and watch that. I really don't think. This is a ridiculous thing for the club. Another own goal by the club. It's easy tap in PR with Celtic. They could have. We've had that 3-4 years ago. You were getting you're getting 21 games that included 2 friendly matches and a qualifier. You're getting 18 matches and nothing else with an increase. I mean, I'd dislike Fergus McCann. Fergus McCann gives you a train ticket on match days. You got that train card, 2 friendly matches, a Scottish Cup match, a League Cup match, and a European qualifier, all as part of your book.
Am I right in thinking? We were the first season ticket in Scotland?
I don't know about that. We were selling them before. We had them in the 80s, but we only had a few thousand.
Was it a strange, or he opened up? He made that the sort of focal point. Anyway, it was like he definitely changed the game with it.
Well, he probably changed it to be the first club that was maybe fully focused on selling the stadium for season holders and keeping the minimum for match day spectators.
The wee fella reliably told me, I'm sure one episode of Schema Celtic or something like that. With Hingway, the Tamashanta. I'm sure the wee fella said that Celtic actually advertised season books during the World Cup '94 on ITV.
They may have done that.
So that was one of the adverts, and you're going, that is pretty innovative shit. You know what I mean? It is. And let's be honest, Mark. This isn't just about what's not included in your season ticket and what is. I'm looking at the new Adidas deal, and apparently, I mean, obviously, the big rumor was that's us now one of the Adidas elites. By the way, this was, remember, a few months ago they were saying we'll now get the club won't, the club's kits won't just be templates. I'm like, well, at least we're all just telling the truth now. You know, I'm glad that we've got that out in the open, that there've been templates before. You know, I'm not saying the home shirt was, but a lot of the training gear and things like this. But then I look at this friend and I go, when we announced the new Adidas contract, let's be real. What's the one thing you get in the first sentence for Celtic? Record-breaking extended deal. I didn't see the word record-breaking.
No, that's true.
So I think my guess is Adidas are getting more for the same, or worst case, more for a wee bit less, but more than anyone else is willing to pay. A bit like the Sky deal.
I think they got a 10-year contract. I think they called it groundbreaking, didn't they? Don't call it groundbreaking or innovative or something like that.
Mate, they always tell you when it's the record breaking.
I know.
With Alphabet's extension as well.
They can't wait to tell you that.
And Alphabet's extension as well, I noticed that was missing as well.
Oh fuck! And I did see.
So neither deal are
Is it Alphabet head up now?
All right, okay.
No, that I'm too fussy about that. It's just something on the road. But Rangers have got sponsors every sleeve, every shoulder, every sock. I don't want to turn into a team for South America. The less stuff on a Celtic ship, the better for me, to be honest.
I get that. But it does strike me though that Adidas are, whilst you get your wee balls tickled and they say, "Oh, you're one of the elite ones now," like we actually designed some of your kits now. Do you know what I mean? Like sound. I think it looks to me like with this friendly, the Adidas Cup, and the fact Celtic's extended this deal, but not said, a record breaking, not that they need to disclose the exact finances, but they do like to let you know.
Maybe that'd be another policy. Maybe I think one of Celtic's biggest problems within the boardroom is they hate the fact that me, you, and everybody else know they've got loads of money, and we all talk about new shirt deals.
Oh, good. See,
you know what I mean? Maybe so it's
just toning it down.
Aye, because that's what they did. You remember the last AGM and you Brendan Rodgers talking, and Lawwell came out, and very first thing Lawwell said was, we're going to go to temper this, you know what I mean? It's not every year we've got all this money, we need to buffer it, we need this, that, and the other, and FFP rules are coming in.
I've just fell for it.
Aye.
I've just walked right into it.
Aye, the subtle boys. And it must work then.
Clever.
Well, they said a 10-year deal. 10-year deal was... I remember Celtic signed a 7-year deal with Umbro in the 90s, and that was quite a long deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, a 10-year deal, even if it was less a season, you could still package if you're wanting to swing your dick about it. You know what I mean? You would still say it's a record-breaking deal because the package is worth.
You can sell it. Who's got
that? Because 10 years combined would be worth more than the 5-year one that was maybe worth more a season. So for them,
$5 million or something, boys.
You ain't toning it down now.
Listen, I think one of the things, if we lose a match on Tuesday, we say we've got £100 million in the bank and we're playing scales at centre back. It's the first thing you say, isn't it? It's the first thing you say is mention the money. They don't like the fact that we mention money all the time, but they have got it and they can't hide it.
They started it.
They did start it. They want to tell us they've got £100 million in the bank, and
you think now it's like fucking cheers for the new deal Adidas, but like we'll get the idiot Bhoycie up there straight away thinking it's all about like the Adidas Cup and that.
But listen, but that's still cynical in you, know what I mean? You're still looking at Celtic cynical, and that tells you that you don't always trust everything to type out, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I think you've got a point there. That would definitely keep the eyes off it. In terms of that sort of commercial deal, though, I think it's important that we're still working with, the front runner, in my opinion, in terms of European. I think worldwide Nike's bigger. I think European-wise, Adidas is the iconic brand, and I think it is. I know you've not always been the happiest with every single shirt that you've bought, but I do know, that that's the sort of association you're wanting for the club, and a long-term deal like that tells you, like you were kind of alluding to, that whatever concerns you've got of us booing a monarchy or something like that, or if you hate the royal family, clap your hands. These things haven't impacted as much as people would like them to. And because we've just cemented that by, extending this deal for a decade or whatever it is with someone like Adidas, and they've, put us in the Premier League, if you like, of their clobber. That's encouraging for me.
Maybe that's why we as a club don't speak the way the fans speak anymore, Bhoycie. And that's something that you won't get. Like, Adidas might have a lot of principles that Lawwell as a man hasn't got. So if you try to get the American, in America you can say you're a prawn-eating tiger, and they'll go to say you're a prawn-eating tiger. You know what I mean? That you imagine their principles. Is that?
Not anymore.
No, well, I know. Well, thankfully Trump's fixed a few things in that country enough, but so their principles might need to be, like, as I talk about our sponsors, our main sponsors probably put pressure on Celtic the same way that UEFA does, to maybe speak out against things that they might know technically have an issue.
I think you're on it.
So
I think you're on it.
That might be part of it. There will be strife. This, as I say, this isn't the Brown Brogues secret handshake brigade anymore at Rangers, and that will take a bit of getting used to.
But I think you're onto it though, mate. I think you're so onto it, because you're going, some of the stuff you're going, if you are a bona fide Celtic man and always have been, you've been on this planet 30 years longer than us, right? So there must be even more, like, how could you just be suddenly? So you're right, they're going, we're playing a fucking game. And one thing I will always say, there's very strict, I will always say, I don't always say it, but one thing I know of is Big Liam McGrandles, when he was in New York, pub crawled to Lawwell. I said, soundest man on the planet, Celtic daft. Couldn't you believe it? Didn't expect it. Opposite what you think. Opposite what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you that insight. You go, you've got to play games as well. Do you want the good commercial deals? Do you want to be miles ahead? Or do you want to just, as Marc says, just strip all the sponsors away? We'll just be like, just Celticness. And they'll be like, well, enjoy what comes with that. And it's a difficult one to juggle, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, you remember when, what do you call him, fucking Michael Kelly was speaking in the early 2000s, and he was talking about Celtic had struck a deal, and he was saying, oh, this is no the Celtic I know, and there's no principles left in sport. And I can't remember what it was. And people were saying at the time, yes, that's why you were leading Celtic to fucking oblivion, because you were thinking about Celtic when it was 1905. You know what I mean? And when the principles of the club the principles of the club. And
Fergus McCann was the 49ers.
Aye.
If you look at, for want of a better way of
explaining, but at least
evolve.
At least, I suppose, Fergus McCann didn't have the company reputation at stake, is what some of the people. And Fergus McCann, don't forget, Fergus McCann, he said no to a lot of people at Celtic. He said no to Tommy Burns. He said no to the fans about bringing in players left, right, and centre, and says we're going to have to ride this out. And it's whether this mob who are no used to getting told who are no used to getting told you can't sing the sash, and no used to getting told that this is okay. When they start saying no, couple that with losing matches, and couple that with a board who are no scared of you anymore, or an absent landlord even. That's when things can start to happen. That's a rocky ship. I don't say this is going to happen, Bhoycie, but there's definitely a lot of moving clogs in this deal that nobody seems to have put under the microscope. I said a couple weeks ago, the Rangers fans haven't even kicked. We as Celtic fans, we're cynical. We kick the tyres. On every deal, we kick the tyres. So Rangers fans haven't even asked if there is wheels on the car. No, I mean, kick the tyres. They're just desperate. Like, oh, they're all in, boys. They're all in. They've got the American hats on. They're eating the quarterback crisps. You know, they're trying to vote Trump.
Quarterback crisps.
Aye, they're American now. I mean,
packet of oysters.
Oysters. Oysters. Just you wait, man. They'll have hamburgers for their dinner, and they'll be the most fakest Americans you've ever seen in your life. You know what I mean?
If you remember back, I don't want to keep you any longer, Marc. The last thing I'll say, when you get to Fergus McCann, I do think though to myself, do you know what? For the tightest man at Celtic, he spent a hell of a lot as well. He brought in German international. He brought in Van Hooijdonk. He brought in Di Canio. And what he didn't then do was pander to them. in his mind pandering, in our mind you've got to reward. And see the modern era, if you'd done what they did in a season, you do reward them with a new improved deal, right? That's just how it goes now. But back then he stuck to his guns and didn't care about the hate of the fans. But what that meant was we only won one title in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's what you're looking at across the road, then, well, hey, it might set them up for the future, but again, the future's bright.
Future's
no orange.
Well, no for them. I think you might find out there's orange in
tangerine.
The
What's orange when it's not an orange? Tangerine. Love that.
Is that similar?
Right.
Anyway, okay.
I'll let you go, Mark. Go enjoy the sun. Thanks to everyone who's watching, and cheers. Next one.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.